Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching the One Piece live action series starring Inaki Godoy, Emily Rudd, Makenyu, and it's based off the manga series by Eiichiro Oda. Now, in the long line of botched live action anime adaptations, One Piece seems like one that Netflix could actually do decently if they had the right budget and right cast for it. Though, considering the way that the Cowboy Bebop adaptation and the Death Note adaptation went, many people were understandably concerned. Thankfully, this one actually fully embraces the original manga's tone and its pacing, or and it actually happens to give us these characters that we know and love, just with enough changes to make them stand out as their own versions of these characters, and all the changes feel natural since Oda himself was a creative consultant. Let's get to the story, shall we? The story starts out when Gold Roger, a pirate with a treasure known as the One Piece, is captured and executed by the Marines. But instead of that being making an example out of him, he rallies the people in order to find the One Piece to start a golden age of piracy. And he ends up inspiring many villainous and heroic pirates, one of which being Monkey D. Luffy, played by Inaki Godoy. Now, Luffy is a boy who's happened to consume a devil fruit that gives him a rubber body, but it also means he can't swim in the ocean. Regardless, he's going to search in the Grand Line for One Piece alongside a clever navigator named Nami, played by Emily Rudd, a swordsman named Zoro, Romanoa Zoro, played by Makenyu, a flirtatious but skilled chef named Sanji, played by Taz Skylar, and a sharpshooter and a tall storyteller named Usopp, played by Jacob Gibson, alongside a bunch of other characters that are met throughout the series. Now, One Piece is a notoriously beloved shonen manga full of dastardly villains and colorful rogues alike, and thankfully the series has actors who not only resemble the characters from the original series, but who manage to work with the show's visual effects to make them feel like these characters have actually come to life, especially since they're written very similar to how they were in the original anime and manga, just with a few more details added for some of them. For example, Kuro of the Thousand Plans has not only comes across as even more despicable than he did in the original series, but his two henchmen are actually a henchman and a henchwoman this time around, though they're still siblings. Or, in another case, the season's main villain, Arlong, comes across as even deeper voice than his original counterpart, but he also just comes across as a completely dastardly villain, despite the fish people literally being slaves at one point used by the Marines. It's very clear that the pacing here was mostly done so that it could fit a few arcs of the series into 8-hour-long episodes, but it mostly works out in its own favor, mainly because it doesn't feel like anything is used as filler. It cuts a few scenes here and there and adds a few otherwise, but it mostly feels like a pretty faithful adaptation, just made different enough to justify its own existence. Especially considering that one character in particular seems to be cut from the original season, but he makes an appearance in the after-credit teaser. On top of that, I really appreciate how the visual effects, while they don't look the most real, they still feel like they fit the cartoony tone of the original series, especially whenever Luffy uses his gum gum powers. On top of that, the music, while it isn't the same as the music from the original anime series, it does happen to fit various characters with their themes, especially Nami's theme in the last episode, which not only fits her character arc, but feels like a song that's made for the whole One Piece crew as a whole when it comes to them facing adversity but continuing to move forward. It makes me wonder how they'll handle the music for other scenes later on, such as when Nico Robin makes her appearance, but that's a long way away. For a series that I thought was going to be dead in the water, One Piece ended up being the rare live-action adaptation that's clearly made by actors and crew members who genuinely love and respect the original source material and wanted to create the best show possible. And while it does have some issues here and there, I think Makenyu is a little wooden as Zoro, and I think some scenes don't work as well as they did in the manga and anime, I ultimately think it's probably the best live-action adaptation of a manga that Netflix has had at this point, even though it's probably not saying a whole lot. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. See you next time.